Hello again, lads. It is I, Hero in his head, and I have returned from the shadowy ether of non-existence to bring you more gaming content, this time in the form of Baldur's Gate 3. So, without further ado, let's jump right into character creation. Now, first things first, I'm going to pick the Dark Urge playthrough, and keep things spicy, every one of the Dark Urge decisions that come up in dialogue will be decided via coin toss, truly random. Sometimes he can resist, sometimes he cannot. Now, I had a really cool idea to create was essentially a Viking, who wields a hammer and uses lightning. You might be thinking he's sort of like Thor, and he looks like Thor, and he probably acts like Thor. He certainly fights like Thor, but he's not Thor, and so we're going to have to come up with a distinguishing name for such character. Nailed it. And just like that, our level-headed protagonist wakes up on the Nautiloid, bathed in blood and viscera and covered in chainmail. Not the faint idea of who he is, but he remembers damn well who he's not. Now, during his initial exploration of the Nautiloid, he finds this poor brain captured inside of this bony meat suit. Being the animal rights activist that he is, he removes the brain. Once removed from the meat suit, the tiny brain decides to assist Not Thor in his escape from the Nautiloid. A valuable ally that will be by his side for a long time to come, I'm sure. It's not long after that our protagonist Not Thor is in fact assaulted by the Dami Mommy herself, Lae'zel. Seriously though, all jokes aside, I'm 99% convinced that the people that enjoy her presence are the same ones that enjoy being stepped on. I mean, for God's sake, she looks like Michael Jackson had sex with a frog. While not overly fond of her presence, Not Thor understands the need for allies in this current situation. Him, Lae'zel, and the tiny brain push forward, slaughtering several imps on their way. As the trio move even deeper into the Nautiloid, they find themselves in a strange room with a console. Being the intelligent and scholarly man that he is, Not Thor realizes he has no idea how to read any of these things, and so he does the only reasonable thing and pushes the middle button, only to be immediately assaulted by coma patients. But one quick T-pose later, and the coma patients fall in awe of Not Thor's martial prowess. Finding another console, Not Thor does the only reasonable thing and jams his hand inside of it, trying to figure out if it's a boy or a girl. After a moment of prodding, out pops a small elven woman answering his questions. The console was a girl. After a moment of chatter, the woman suggests that we travel together to try and take over the ship. Enjoying the idea, he agrees, before letting her know that he is in fact not Thor.
Shadowheart.
And I see that he is not the only one making shit up now. With that in mind, Not Thor, Shadowheart, and Froglegs all head towards the bridge of the Nautiloid. There, they find Captain Calamari fighting with the devil himself. So obviously Not Thor and his party needs to show this horned figure how they do things in prison. Having secured his victory against the devil, Not Thor runs to play Hentai Simulator 2024 in celebration. The ship tries to stop him, but even gravity can't stop Not Thor's insatiable urge. After passing out from the thunderous ecstasy of his simulator, Not Thor wakes up on a beach and thinks to himself that he really needs to stop waking up in strange places covered in blood. Lucky for him, Emo Elf was nearby, as he would be needing a competent meat shield in days to come. After regrouping, the two move forward, exploring the surroundings, killing a couple more brains, and eventually finding a suave and scholarly, totally not vampiric man standing in a clearing.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Naturally, Not Thor lives to crush things smaller than him, and so he honors the Not Vampire's request.
Just a dumb bore. You're relieved, until you see the flash of a dagger.
Oh shit, that's a knife. Nothing a little psychic worm magic can't fix. Recognizing the situation and needing all of the allies he can get, Not Thor decides to let the totally not vampire stay with him at camp.
I was ready to go this alone. But maybe sticking with the herd isn't a bad idea. Safety in numbers, after all. And I hate to turn down an invitation. All right. Maybe I'll see you there. Good luck.
Now, continuing to move through the wreckage of the Nautiloid, imagine Not Thor's surprise when he finds Captain Calamari himself lying on the floor, begging for assistance. Feeling pity on the creature, Not Thor decides to offer him a shoe to help him out. Oh no, apparently it's allergic to foot. Seeing the squished platter of calamari beneath his boot, Not Thor begins to realize he hasn't eaten in God knows how long, and sets off on an important mission to find something to eat. It wouldn't be long before Not Thor found a swirling vortex of purple energy. Praying that there might be a ham sandwich inside, he reaches in, swearing he can smell the ham from here.
Mistress Eyelids, stop! Cease, you loon!
However, when he opens his eyes, he finds that it wasn't a ham, but a hand.
All come true.
As the exploration continues, Not Thor and Shadowheart find themselves in the ruins of a small chapel of sorts, only to be insulted and accosted by a wee man and his slender friend.
You're both twice as tall as me, but have half the bloody backbone!
But we don't know what that thing even is. And what about the crypt?
I'm telling you, it's a ship. And the crypt can wait. Mari and Barton have been trying to break in for days. Now we... Stop! Got ourselves competition already. That's our ship.
Intimidated by Not Thor's luscious locks and burly frame, they decide to scatter to the wind, leaving him the opportunity to raid the place himself, but not before causing some healthy property damage and cooking those inside. Clearly, he's still not over this ham sandwich debacle. Still desperate to find a meal, he dives deeper into the caverns below, picking locks like a master burglar, and rifling through crypts all in search of a single morsel of food. Eventually, stumbling upon what he believes must be the button leading to the refrigerator. But when he pushes it, he's accosted by skeletons. Not only do they interrupt his search for food, but they don't even have any meat on their bones. After a hard-fought battle, Not Thor and Shadowheart make their way into the freezer, desperately pushing open the meat locker only to be greeted by a shriveled-up husk of a man. And based on his slender, raisin-like frame, Not Thor deduces that there must be no food here either. Irritated, he begins to slap the shit out of him, but this piece of human jerky has some serious hacks.
Fate has not declared mine injury. Therefore it shall not occur.
Meaning Not Thor has to leave in search of food elsewhere. So returning to his journey to find some kind of sustenance, and already positively seething at the situation, imagine his surprise when he finds that the amphibious Michaela Jackson was being held in some kind of weird sex cage by these horny people. Not Thor is a lot of things, but a degenerate isn't one of them. He quickly dispatches the horny people the only way he knows how. And frees Froglegs from her captivity. As you can expect, she's quick to offer gratitude for Not Thor's assistance in the matter.
You may as well suggest a wyvern bow to worms. The cure I offer will suffice as thanks.
She informs Not Thor that there's apparently a camp of horny people nearby. And well disgusted at the prospect, he does wonder if they might have food inside. So the trio sets off in search of the camp of horny individuals. But upon arrival, he finds that the camp is being accosted by a group of short people, clearly looking to raid them of their stockpile as well. Not Thor cannot suffer any competition in his search for a sandwich, and as such rains down the full might of his thunderous abuse. Once he had properly repelled the fridge raiders, he makes his way inside only to find a lover's quarrel taking place. That's okay though, as some bickering is healthy in a relationship. He's sure they'll work it out in the end.
With a thunk, the armored man collapses, unconscious.
To be young and in love, he thinks. Having grown tired from their search for food, Not Thor and company decide to settle in for the evening and set up camp. However, it's there that Lae'zel confides in Not Thor about her concern of their growing hunger.
Abominations grow inside us. Our bones should ache,
Our mouths should bleed, yet we thrive. It is madness. Keep your rest short. Time is not our ally.
After a brief power nap, Not Thor, Toadstool, Nebula, and Metro Vampire set off to go hunting for food once more. And it's not long after that they find a group of people, one of them clearly injured on the ground.
You're a true soul. You can't die. Please, stay with us.
I don't think he's conscious. Can you hear us, Ed?
You, not a step closer.
Don't worry, Not Thor's many things, and a doctor is one of them. Just stand back and let him work his magic. In absolute awe of Not Thor's raw medical talent, they ask what they should do next, to which he instructs them to go and find the owlbear that did this in the first place. Unbeknownst to them, Not Thor simply wants them to lead him to the owlbear so that he can capture an egg and use it to make a delicious omelet. Upon finding the beast itself, it tries to intimidate Not Thor with its large size. Obviously, Not Thor needs to show this mongrel who's boss.
The beast returns the roaring kind.
The beast clearly doesn't know what it's getting itself into. Once the beast is dead, Not Thor sees a small owlbear cub approaching the body. Being the sympathetic parent figure that he is, Not Thor sends the child back to its mom, as he would hate to separate them in such a gruesome way. And he pats himself on the back for a job well done. Plus, he managed to secure that egg for the delicious omelet. Thoroughly satisfied with himself so far, Not Thor and his compatriots continued their exploration of the area, finding an eviscerated boar, seemingly drained of all of its blood. Geez, I wonder who did this.
It's been drained of blood with wounds in its neck. It's been killed by a vampire. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to worry you. They are ferocious creatures. But don't worry, I'll keep watch tonight. We won't have to worry about nocturnal visitors. Now please, let's go.
Not Thor thanks Asterion, feeling much safer knowing that he'll be on guard tonight. It's not long after that Not Thor and company are ambushed by the fridge raiders from earlier, clearly holding a grudge at Not Thor for preventing them from raiding the fridge of the horny people. Not Thor and company show them what for it mean to offend their party. And it's during this encounter that Not Thor realizes that Shadowheart really is not pulling her weight in terms of combat, and as such she was quickly replaced by Ronk the Machine, High Paladin of the Machine. The timing of this change was quite eloquent, in fact, as not long after Not Thor and party ran into a group of onions, feasting on a recently killed tiefling. Ronk attempted to enter into negotiations with them, however in a typical fashion negotiations failed rather quickly.
It's dinner time, boys!
After a particularly brutal encounter during which Not Thor decided to take a nap under some rubble, the party decided that it'd be best to turn in for the evening and finally get a chance to eat that delicious omelet they had worked so hard for. Upon arrival at camp, it appears that Not Thor's reputation has begun to precede him, as he's now begun to attract groupies in the form of a horny person named Alfira.
I know who you are. How could I not? You're all anyone in the Grove talks about. That's why I'm here. When I'd heard what you'd done, it inspired me. Made me feel brave again. I want to join you. To fight by your side. I want to help people. As you've helped us.
Entertained at the prospect of having some music and merriment around the camp, Not Thor agrees. Unfortunately for Alfira, the omelet from that owlbear egg clearly didn't agree with Not Thor, and in a fit of rage, he seems to have murdered her in his sleep. Continuing with the trend, Not Thor wakes up in the middle of the night covered in blood that is not his own. Once again, he thinks to himself that he really must stop doing this. Now, Not Thor is many things, but a coward is not one of them. He opts to wait for the others to awaken so he can let them know exactly what happened. And the next morning, Not Thor explains to them that she was clearly attacked by some kind of feral animal.
It is dangerous. wandering around at night. You could bump into anything.
As the party accepts his word as law, Not Thor can't help but wonder if there's any more owlbear omelet left for him to snack on.